Hello, welcome one and all once again to episode 2 of Out on a Limb, a Cyberpunk Red story on the Syrinscape Twitch channel. And this is brought to you by Talsorian Games, Syrinscape, and powered in the background by Wandering DM. I am Phil Harker-Smith from Baby Beard Media. And once again, I am joined by an absolutely incredible cast who I will get to introduce themselves once again in no particular order. Tanya.
Hello, I'm Tanya. I am playing Strife, your Techie, and you can find me everywhere on the internet's Decipher of Tier. But right now, here, I'm just going to see what I can do with a bunch of scrap tech and an arm I cut off.
Sara.
Hi, I'm Sara. You can find me on Twitter at MustangSara. I am playing Nyx Phosphate, who is a Medtech, who is currently, I believe, operating on the back of someone's head where we left off currently. So that's a thing.
And Gabe.
Hello, I'm Gabe. I go as Gabe James Games across the internet, and today I am your Netrunner named Nero, who's genuinely just friendly and laid back and doesn't have ulterior motives on anything at all.
Good to know. And Kelli.
Hi, I'm Kelli, most better known as the opera geek. Oh God, cut that, please. Whatever. I'm playing the resident Rockerboy, Olympia, who I believe was having a lovely conversation with an assassin and his cat after making a dramatic entrance and declaring that she knew everything.
You certainly put the pieces together for us, which was very helpful indeed. Thanks, everybody. Now, once again, we will be giving away a prize at the end of today's stream. And once again, it is a physical and digital copy of Cyberpunk Red and a subscription to the Syrinscape Soundscape program. And what you'll need to do is make sure you're here at the midway break, where you'll get a secret code word, which I'll tell you when to pop in at the end. This is for US residents only, unfortunately, but best of luck. Now, if we're all sitting comfortably and we're ready to begin, let's kick off. Back to tonight's top story. Night City woke up to a cybernetic crisis this morning as a rash of implant malfunctions swept the metro area, leading to a number of injuries, several deaths, and leaving dozens with inoperable cyberware. Early reports indicating that the victims all had recently installed Rockland brand implants led CityNet commentators to direct blame towards the Neocorp, accusing them of brazenly sabotaging their competitors' products. I'm Sally Cutter, and this is Cut the Shit. If this is your first time on my garden patch, make sure you set your agent to notify when we go live, because if you ain't now, you're already out of date. And who's on top of my shit list this week? None other than the official face of Rockland Augmentics, Jacinta Hidalgo. Yeah, go off in the comments about how my voice stress analyzer isn't admissible in a court of law. Well, this isn't a court of law, this is the court of public opinion, and it's my very public opinion that every word spewing from this woman's mouth makes my hardware go haywire faster than her products. I mean, listen to this. Once again, Danny, the sensationalist media has got exactly the wrong takeaway from the events of today. It's clear that none of these so-called Rockland products were purchased through legitimate channels. The illicit trade in unlicensed cybernetics is the real threat to the well-being of Night City's residents, which is why I'm calling on the Night City Council to take immediate action to stem the flow of illegal implants into the unregulated night markets. Now that the immediate crisis is over in heaven and in the city, a volunteer arrives at Nyx's clinic, a teenage boy named Tinker, who promises to alert your agent, Darcy, Nyx, should anything change. Meanwhile, the famously good ramen place a few floors down is doing a late night cook-up for everyone who helped out with the crisis. And you guys are all invited to fill your bellies and discuss your next move there. When you reach the place, it's busy with exhausted medtechs and volunteers, and the smell of the hearty noodle soup is invigorating. The inclusion of some nice fresh eggs from Purcell Farm above you rounds out the experience. So now that you're here, I'll give you and those watching along a little bit of a recap so we can inform your discussion and you can decide what to do next. So according to CityNet, around 70 people across the city were affected. They all had illegally purchased Rocklin implants, which were themselves unaffected. Very early analysis by Darcy indicates that the nervous system of the victims were affected in some way. And he indicates that further analysis can be done to learn more. The cyberware that reached Heaven was sourced by a local fixer named Kitty Kicks last week, who is known to Olympia. And Kitty operates out of an old city elementary school called Sex Ed, which he runs as a burlesque and more. So that brings us up to speed. Feel free to discuss what you'd like to do next.
Would I have already told them about the conversation I heard, or should we go over that?
The conversation you heard with
the one I recorded. The one I recorded.
I don't believe you explicitly told them about that conversation. You just came in and said, does all these people have a Rocklin? As if you had some knowledge from on high. So yeah, you might need to go over that call with them.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I think we'd all be, I assume there's tables, like cozy little tables.
Yeah, it's all mismatched. You can pull a few together if you need to.
Yeah, so I think I would try to get us like towards the corner, so that we're kind of hidden from everybody. And once we've all got our food, be like, well, it seems like all of you had a very interesting afternoon. Yes?
Yeah, Nyx just is like kind of tiredly like poking at her ramen and just like gives like, after like such a look. Just like a really tired, done look.
I mean, you did seem quite busy, and Strife especially seemed to really cut into her work. Don't look at me like that.
That'd be one word for it.
That was in character. That was entirely in character.
And I mean, honestly, Nero, I really think, Nero, that you were just having fun. But
yes.
I know. But I had to sing a party tonight. You know how much I love singing those parties. And I overheard something very interesting afterwards. I think it might interest you. And because Kelli has a lot of fun not remembering everything, she's going to activate the micro recorder that she specifically said she activated before that conversation was overheard.
Excellent.
So I assume it would be either his voice or Wolfie like relaying the phone call.
So Wolfie can just literally just play it back through his inbuilt speaker. And would you like to hear the conversation in full?
I believe we could at least get the semi-rundown of it. Maybe after he said, as per my last email.
Certainly, darling. As per the data packet, any info gaps in the public beta are outweighed by the logistical obstacles of acquisition and disposal of subjects. Tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be following myself, so I'll be sure to keep you updated. Watch the pin placements on the back nine. I think the Greenskeeper's having a bad week. Yes, ma'am. A good night.
Yeah, that's enough. I don't need to hear about his bad golf skills. So
Oh, sorry, darling.
that was from oh bugger, what was his name?
Maximilian Thorogood, darling.
Maximilian, yes. He was so memorable, Maximilian. Yes, he's a Rockland exec. Seems a lot to me. It sounds like they might be doing a unlicensed beta test. But of course, I'll leave it up to people who know tech far better than me, to parse that one out. And she'll look at Strife and Nero.
I'm gonna look at the person who kept kicking me unintentionally with their leg. I think you're probably right.
They're back down in the clinic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rub a bruise on my arm then probably. That's right, actually.
So there are a few things that you guys might be able to do to puzzle out some more information. Now, there are a number of complementary skill checks that you can use, and the way this works in Cyberpunk Red is to basically anything that you can imagine or creatively come up with to roll will add +1s to any other roll that you want to make to uncover a piece of information. And I have a few suggestions that might help kick things off. Education or library search or cybertech might be used to do a bit of research about the symptoms themselves, whether they match anything on record. A cursory search yesterday by Nix didn't turn anything up. You could study the implants themselves with cybertech. You could use Streetwise or business to look at how to puzzle out how the company might have gone about this. And you could study the data from the procedures done yesterday, but that might take a little bit more time and require a bit more specific analysis with something like cybertech, medtech, or biology. And of course, there's Kitty as well.
Yes, about Kitty. Do they know Kitty? Would they know Kitty?
Only it depends on their streetwise roles, essentially.
Okay.
Does anyone think they might know the local fixer or local fixers?
I think Nix might, because Nix has done work for gangs and street runners. So
yeah, okay. Give me a streetwise roll then, please.
So that is a 13.
Excellent. So Kitty is kind of known to you, not intimately, but you know that they run this kind of burlesque / joy toy parlor, and they're generally sort of known to be a kind of good, honorable person who looks out for the people under their employ, as well as kind of sources things for heaven. They're not known for being duplicitous or nefarious in that way or anything like that.
Yeah. Nix will relay that. So he's a trustworthy guy. There's nothing untoward I ever had from him.
Well,
that you know
I met or I didn't meet. I've met him before. A lovely gentleman in your clinic while I was waiting, for you all to clean up your mess. And apparently, Kitty is the one who is sourcing a lot of these products. Well, I don't know if that means that Kitty's in on it, or if they know something.
Did he say where he was sourcing these from?
The gentleman I spoke to, no. But I do believe it was definitely affecting his work. Make his work a little bit more messy anyway. So, I mean, honestly, I do defer to all of you. I just, pick up things. I'm certainly not as familiar with how they would have managed something like this as you all might be.
Phil, is this clinic a place where the well-off would come to? Would you say?
Sex ed is not a clinic. It's
no. I mean like Nix's clinic.
Not generally, no.
Okay.
Very few corpos come to heaven itself. Yeah.
So all the people that we saw that were having issues with implants were people that probably weren't corpo related.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any implants that we could look at? And maybe
certainly, yeah. You could look at the implants that have malfunctioned. One you conveniently removed, or you could look at the neural implant that Nyx deftly removed from the brain of a patient yesterday, Proxy.
Actually, can I check both of them?
Of course, yeah. So you'll probably have to do it in the clinic or in your workshop.
I mean, I do enjoy the idea of just the arm being taken out of a backpack and put down on the table, but
yeah, actually, fine. Why not? If you've still got the arm with you, you could bring it out of your kit bag and lay it on the ramen table and take out your tools and start tinkering if you like.
I wasn't gonna do that over dinner. It was more of a once we're either at the clinic or once I'm at my other workshop. I'm not taking a severed arm home. Although, my plan will be once we're done eating, I'm going to go to that other workshop I maintain, because that has better equipment than home, and inspect the arm.
Cool. Well, you can all stay in touch with your agents. It's not a big deal for you to be sort of like not in the same space. So do you break up for the evening with a plan of what you're going to do next? You're just going to sort of fact find? Do you want to plan to visit or call Kitty? Do you have a plan of action for what you want to do next?
I think Nyx is probably going to pay a visit to Kitty.
Oh, yes, Olympia is too, because as I recall, Olympia was her contact to get in with the residents of heaven.
Yeah, so one of the things that Kitty does is as I said, the Joy 2 parlor is also a burlesque, so there's very much dancing and performance there. So you have a little bit of a kinship there.
And I mean, I don't, Olympia doesn't appreciate that this seems to be originating with something she might have a connection to. So definitely Nyx and I.
So you do plan to go, at least two of you?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you going to come as well, Strife?
I'm going to my workshop.
All right. Nero?
I'm not actually sure. I thought about going to find a friend that I made earlier today, but that's just personal business.
Would that be you know what? I actually don't want to know.
No, it's not a romantic friend. But they have a very stupid name.
If they're your friend, why are you disparaging their name?
Why? What's their name, Nero?
Fuck you.
What? I didn't say anything. She's got her mouth like half full of like seasoned egg. I didn't say anything to you.
Oh, that's the name. They're very interesting.
Are you sure they're a friend with that name?
Friends.
Did their mother give them that name?
People that you thought were enemies, and then they realize that they weren't as good as you, and then they fear you, and then they offer you friendship and money because they're terrified of you. Anyways, it depends. What are you going to be up to, Strife?
I'm going to be in my workshop, the one not in my living room. And depending on what I find, I'm going to go home, and you know my unit number.
You in company? Because if not, I'll go follow them and watch Olympia dance, sing, and potentially perform.
You do realize I don't perform there.
Why not?
Yes, why not?
they can't afford me.
So if they paid you enough, you would.
No, I don't think they'd be ever able to meet my price.
Well, Nero, if you want to come with me, this should be bad thing. She got points toward her backpack.
I'll go with you. Otherwise, I'd be too tempted to offer Olympia money and perform there myself.
You definitely couldn't afford me.
Not yet. Give me 3 days.
She's just gonna kind of like half smile at him and raise an eyebrow, like, okay, bud. Like the look of, I have clothing that costs more than you will ever have. Not that I own it. Not that I own it, but I have it right now.
I still have some of my stuff.
This is like a month's hustle
I would,
on that white suit right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, I think that definitely, I mean, obviously Kelli and Gabe know each other, but I think that Olympia and Nero probably have some sort of history given they moved in the same circles for a while. I would assume.
Yeah, I probably think that.
Or he's just being snarky.
Both. It's both. I'm going to go with Strife because then I won't get myself in trouble. And I definitely won't. I might get you in trouble.
I don't know. Just make sure you don't like scratch your arm or anything. She might need to give you medical attention.
And Strife turns and looks at you.
She has like the most innocent smile, just looking at you, just like,
And she just grins, and then you see the vampire teeth.
Every time.
That if you're going to crack jokes, you do so with people you know well enough.
Ooh. I want to stand behind Strife and go like at Olympia.
Olympia, possibly to the surprise of anybody who would be actually looking at her and not sticking out their tongue and acting like a 5-year-old, is actually going to be, for a split second, look incredibly hurt before, it pops right back up and she's like, oh, yes, just a joke.
We're chaos, aren't we?
You and I both know that joking with people you don't know that well can bring you to a bad end.
Yeah. I grumble at that and wait by the door.
So as the meeting breaks up for the evening, it's getting on late for tonight, so you could do your sort of independent research and then perhaps reconvene tomorrow to decide when you're going to hit up Kitty and whether you're all going to go together or not. But I get from Strife that Strife is keen to take a good look at this arm tonight. So you get yourself into your workshop. Hopefully Nyx has been kind enough to maybe laser off the remaining flesh from the arm before you popped it in your backpack. So it doesn't... Yeah, something like that. So there's a bit of charred flesh still attached to the arm as you flop it down onto your workbench. And then I'd like you to give me a Cybertech roll, please.
Sure. Oh, dice, don't fail me. 15.
So 15 is one short, so you lose an hour. Give me if you want to keep working, I'll need a concentration roll as it gets late.
Concentration is under... Oh, I see it. Oh, my concentration's not good. Dagnabbit. 12.
So you're just exhausted from the day, and you go over to consult some manuals on the computer screen, and before you know it, you actually your eyes are closing and you fall asleep.
Oh no! Even with Nero with me?
Oh, is Nero there?
Yeah, Nero came with me.
Okay, Nero.
Yes.
This is a good chance to say, do you assist in any way with the initial analysis?
Oh, absolutely. In any way that I can, even if it's just like seeing how it's syncing to a wireless network, receiving signals or sending signals, that sort of thing.
Well, give me an electronics check then.
Okay, gladly. Electronics.
Cybertech is so good, but I still fail.
Yeah, it was a DV15, so you literally were on the money. So
Hey, that seems
if
good.
you get a plus
21.
one. Yeah, we get a plus 1. That puts you up to 16. Which when you're about to give up, that is when Nero pipes up with a little bit of insight about the particular neural interface of this IEC product, and that is what unlocks the diagnostic interface for you. So what you discover is that this arm, it's not a Rockland arm, it's an IEC arm that's been affected, and it has been contaminated with some sort of biological agent, which has rewired the nervous system of the user that it used to be attached to. Now, without medical equipment or a knowledge of biology or medicine, you probably can't analyze what the agent exactly is, but it looks like, there was some sort of biological or viral contamination which has caused this piece of cyberware to malfunction.
First aid wouldn't help me, right?
First aid is not technical enough to understand what exactly the agent is or what it does. As I said, you could you could use educational library search to perhaps do your own research that other people might know out there online.
Could I do that actually while Strife is working on this?
Of course.
I do have points in education. Education I'm very good at.
Yeah, so you could take an education roll for me. DV15.
It's a 26.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what you discover is that the symptoms of the victims during the day resemble something called synaptic rejection syndrome, which was a problem that occurred in the early days of cybernetic development. It was a problem where they were getting people's bodies to interface properly with cybernetic components. And when they didn't interface properly, people got these rejection syndromes where their arms would malfunction, or neural implants would malfunction, contort or send anomalous signals that would cause a lot of pain and distress, or in the case of neural implants, even death.
That makes sense.
Sure.
What you thinking?
No, I was just debating if I want to try another Cybertech roll, because I don't have enough. Unless I want to do electronics or security, now that I've actually gotten the interface.
What are you trying to find out specifically?
Either effects of what the biological changes, or any kind of like damage or internal change to the circuitry.
The circuitry of this item is unaffected.
Okay.
It's the way it interfaces with the victim, with the patient. The patient can no longer receive signals properly from this.
Right. Well, I figured since I cut it off, that probably was not going to work anymore.
Yes, when you do that, it does damage the cyberware itself, yes. But it was the emergency removal that caused the damage and not the biological agent.
And Nero,
Yes.
does biological agent look familiar to you at all? Is that something a corporal might have used?
Possibly. I'll take a look. Yeah, I'd like to look over it, see if anything seems similar, or if it seems like a common corpo tactic to kind of the idea of making something malfunction so you have to get a replacement.
Was it
So we could have a business. Do you have business?
Yes, I do. I'm
We
good
could
at
roll
it.
business. Check.
All right. 18.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely within the realm of what a corporation might do is to sabotage a competitor's cyberware, for sure.
It's possible that it was sabotage. If you sabotage another competitor's cyberware, then people will look to you. When they look to you, you swoop in with offers, safety, deal. It's disgusting.
true? And if this biological agent does enough damage, then you have to get more cyberware.
Exactly. It's like putting a time bomb in their own equipment, but no one knows what it is. And not everyone's curious enough to ask why or how.
Well, I'm concerned with why and how. Because if this kind of outbreak happens again through heaven, through Night City, imagine the mass hysteria and destruction.
Heaven would fall.
And I can't, many of us can't afford that, literally.
I've come from hell once before. I'm not going back.
You know it's not safe for me out there.
I do. But you don't hide either.
True. Very true. Nobody said I was that smart in some ways.
The concept of being smart is overrated. Smart is often just tied to how much money someone thinks they have, and then it's gone. And they realize they're not so smart.
Ouch, my feelings.
Oh, I'm speaking from experience.
I know. I just, no matter how much cyberware I have, I still have feelings. That was too true and too real. I think we've learned, at least I've learned all I can from this arm. Let's put it on ice, and then on the way back to Nyx's clinic. No, Nyx's clinic is in heaven. Then let's wrap this arm up and I guess head home.
Actually, so it's less of receiving a signal that causes it, and it was more of just the biological agent that made it happen, right, Phil?
So there's a biological agent has affected the patient, the victim, and made them unable to interface with this piece of cyberware.
Yeah.
But they could possibly interface with different cyberware.
Possibly.
Something that might be interesting is if we either A, seek out other Ripper docks where they install this sort of cyberware, or if nothing happens tomorrow, I'd say that's even more concerning.
Well, you create a panic, let people think it's fixed and all is well, and then create the panic again, except worse. That's how they think.
Oh, this is gonna be not fun, is it?
No. And you know that if new cyberware needs to be made, that people with our talents will be in high demand.
It never ends. I hope Olympia gets hit on by a strange person. That'll make me laugh.
Wow. All right.
Look, she is very bold and confident and is someone who considers themselves extremely smart.
Yes.
And it's not that she's wrong, but I just wish she would stop talking about it.
Fair.
God.
Very fair.
I get it. You're talented, you're smart, whatever. Shut up, Lord. I'm jealous.
What, you?
Kelli, I don't mean that. Stop that. Now I feel bad.
Before we ruin the inter-party relationships here, I think we can peter off that discussion that you guys have into the evening about talking shop about what speculation you might be going on, and sharing your research and your feelings about your fellow team members as well. And I'll just nip over to Nix and say, did you have a chance to do any more research tonight before you hit the hay, or are you going to leave that for later, or not at all?
Is it? I'm just going to check with Kelli. Did Olympia come back to Nix's clinic at all, or has Olympia kind of?
No, Olympia's gonna head back to her own rooms.
Okay. Then Nix is gonna do like, the kind of rounds on the patients who are already like, staying overnight kind of thing. Keeping an eye on them, making sure, that they've got enough medication and things. And
your bedside manner is very reassuring to them. None of them, their situations have changed. So.
Yeah. And Nix, towards the end of the evening, she'll and oh, by the way, like just so people in the chat know, if I say she for Nix, like Nix uses she and they pronouns, so it's interchangeable. She gets out of her cyber chair towards the end of the day, kind of, disconnects from that, and just uses a simple cane instead to move around. And she'll look over some of the cyber tech as like the stuff that they removed earlier in the day.
So you have the neural implant from it's a Rocklin implant, the one that was that was not the Rocklin implant, that was the malfunctioning one. So the Rocklins that weren't malfunctioning are still in your patients. You didn't remove any of those. So in this, if you want to study a Rocklin, you have to study it inside one of your patients or image it with your equipment and then study it remotely. But yes, you can either study the malfunctioning cyberware from other companies or you can study a Rocklin.
She'll study the ones then that are from other companies, just as I know that obviously it's me knowing meta, but like everyone's looked at Rocklin, so I'll look at a different company then.
Yeah, so you can either use Medtech, biology, or Cybertech.
Okay, let me just get my sheet. So I'm trying to figure out which one it's in.
So Medtech and Cybertech are technique skills. Biology is an education skill.
Okay. I'll do Cybertech. That is a 10. If you roll a 10, do you roll again? I'm just making sure.
You roll a d10 again and add the new figure. So, yeah.
That's 25 for Cybertech.
Wowza. Excellent. What's happened? What you discover very quickly. What's happened is that the victim's nervous systems have been affected by a virus, and it seems to be some sort of engineered virus that causes a rewiring of the affected individual's nervous systems, which this occurs over a couple of days, which is why all of the patients reported having flu-like symptoms for a couple of days after having their Rocklins implanted. The result being that their nervous systems are now only compatible with the Rocklin implants they have and have rejected the other brand implants in their bodies. You believe at this point that it could be reversed, but you'd need the research on the original viral agent.
Okay. Nix will make note of that. And then
don't worry, darling, says Darcy. I have made notes on everything as you worked. It's all collated into its own folder for you. Would you like me to send the results to your colleagues, or would you like to tell them about it in person?
Send a copy over to Nero, because, like, you know, Nyx knows that Nero went with Strife, so, you know, send it over to Nero to look through with Strife.
Excellent. Her agent is telling me that she's come to some similar conclusions, although she didn't get quite as far as you did.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you Darcy flatterer. But then, you know, Nyx sits down for a moment, says, you know, do you think, Darcy, that they, you know, the corpos think about us, people like us, at all, on any level?
Processing. Modeling the internal world of human intelligence is extremely difficult to me. I could begin a diagnostic, but it would take me perhaps a week to give you a definitive answer.
She says, you know, of course. And she shrugs and she says, you know, it's so frustrating, Darcy, that companies do things like this and they don't care for, you know, Anna and her friend who has a neural processor for, you know, pain relief, and for people who simply have a cyber arm just so that they can carry the shopping home. You know, they don't care. And
Well, corporations are made up of individuals, but the corporations themselves, I believe, are motivated simply by profit margins.
yeah, well, nobody ever feels it more than us, I suppose.
Indeed. I do wish I could empathize with you, but it is slightly beyond my processing power.
That's okay, Darcy. It's just nice to have someone to talk to about it.
Anytime.
I'm heading to bed. Good night, Darcy.
Excellent. See you in the morning. Olympia.
All right, so she would have, you know, waited till everybody else was kind of, you know, we'd all split up. She definitely got a to-go of more ramen. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
I know, it's got double egg in it. So she starts making her way back to her quarters in heaven. She's not going to go to her studio apartment. She's going to make her way back, and you know, she's got that kind of air about her that she has when she's even performing, as she's walking through the crowd, because she's been in heaven long enough, people recognize who she is. And you know, I don't know how they would react to her being around, but you know, it's kind of that I know I'm being watched. So she keeps that up, and then she gets back to her rooms, which I think were not too far from Strife's, the first workshop we saw, which I don't know if it's the workshop they're at now.
It is that workshop, yes.
It is, okay. So she opens the door and kind of heads inside, and as soon as she closes the door, she just like leans up against it and slouches, like she's just exhausted. Just like completely done. And of course, then she'd go to like a tiny little rickety card table or something and just start eating the rest of her ramen, which is probably like her third or fourth serving, because hey, why not?
Would you like me to put on a little light music for you, darling?
Okay, but none of yours.
Excellent. Something classic?
Yes, but none of yours. None of yours.
Excellent. I understand.
Okay.
What would
you seem to have trouble with that. I just, you think you're the best, and you know, you just keep playing it and playing it. Oh, I don't know. Just pick something. I don't care. Just not you and not Wagner.
Something goes on. Is it internal, or is it played out?
I think it's internal. Mostly because I would assume that there's lots of rooms right next to each other, and it's probably not the best of soundproofing.
Yes,
in
not
heaven.
at all.
Yeah, so being as I'm quite familiar with that, living in New York apartment buildings, it would definitely be internal, just for for courtesy.
Excellent.
So then she would, after she finished, I'm going to murder someone. There will be death. Thank you.
Oh dear.
If that's what you consider classical Simon, we need to have a talk. So she would finish up her stuff and just say, yeah, Wolfie,
Yes, darling.
what did you... Was I really... Was I mean? To...
Honestly, I really don't get the vagaries of human emotions. So, do you think you were mean?
I wasn't trying to be. I was trying to... I mean, it's how Nero talks.
One moment while I scan the local net for mentions about you. You are variously described as aloof, and maybe I shouldn't say this one.
No, go ahead.
This one says pretentious, but those are only the negative ones. There are lots of that extol your talents as well. But yes, you're not seen as being the most approachable performer.
No. Guess I did that to myself. And she would get up and, kind of not even clean the bowls up. She'll deal with it tomorrow. And just lay back on the bed. And she's thinking about the stuff that, she knows that Nyx is going to go do research. She knows Strife and Nero are going to go do research.
Mm-hmm.
And she feels exceedingly superfluous at the moment.
It's your contact, of course. You could look up what you know about this person, or you could get in touch with them, or are you planning to sort of drop in on them unannounced?
Wolfie,
yeah.
Can you get me the I can't believe I'm considering doing this. Can you get me the contact for that Maximilian guy from Rockland?
Excellent. Yes, I scanned the card when he gave it to you. I have it now.
Send him a message.
What would you like it to say?
So sorry our encounter was so brief. Why don't we have a longer discussion sometime? Restaurant of your choice. You're paying, of course.
Would you like me to send that now? The hour is quite late, or would you like to schedule it for a more appropriate time tomorrow morning?
Schedule it for 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't want him to think that I cared that much.
Excellent. Very prudent as always.
All right, she'll turn the lights off and just lay back there. She says, okay, now play back tonight's performance, and she'll just watch it on her internal thing and take notes. Any mistakes, excellent. Anything like that.
Were you a little sharp in the second movement?
Was not.
It's
not my fault that she does not know how to write harmony.
Just checking.
Listen, bud. No. She would actually say, no, skip that. That is terrible. Please just skip it. And so she would just listen and not with the idea that she likes listening to herself to listen. It's more like she's listening to herself to fix it.
Excellent. Roll me a concentration check, please.
Concentration is... I know I can find this eventually somewhere. Not social skills?
No, it's a
No.
awareness skill.
Oh, what? Oh, there it is. Brilliant. Okay. 15.
No, again, not quite enough by one, and you fall asleep within about 10 minutes of trying
Really?
to listen and make notes. Yeah, it's
Really?
very late.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Simon with the sad
Oh,
trombone.
the womp womps. Excellent. Well,
Yeah. I fall asleep.
Excellent. We join you we'll join everyone the next day in heaven. The crisis, as predicted, has not grown any worse. The people who were affected across the city were the only members, and once that has died down and their cyberware was deactivated, they are now recuperating. As indicated in our intro, the face of Rocklin comes out overnight, Jacinta Hidalgo, and claims that the items were counterfeit, and asks that the council crack down on the supply of cyberware through illicit channels. So you awake to another rainy day. Acid rain, or at least mildly acidic rain, is predicted for today. And really, it's up to you what your next moves are.
I know Olympia would be. She would wake up semi-early, I guess, like 8-ish, and then want to know where everybody.
Pretty early for a punk.
Operatic punk.
Okay, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. Surprisingly, we don't actually get to sleep all day, which is really too bad. But she would wake up and just want to, kind of check with Wolfie to see. I'm not sure if like the internal thing at Heaven can actually tell her where people are, so she knows where to go.
Yeah, I can. If they have their location shared, I can tell you where folks are on using Dreamland.
Okay. Should I be going to Nix's? Or...
Well, I can start a group call if everyone is awake.
I really don't think that's a good idea.
Well, Nix has been up probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nix is awake.
Like 5:30
Nix...
and doing a shift, and she always has her location shared just in case anybody urgently needs them. So
yeah, Nix is already awake and in her clinic.
All right. Order me breakfast, something, I don't know. And she just walks into whatever I assume passes for a shower at Heaven.
There's running water in the tower. It's
running
okay.
water.
It's not always hot, but it's running water.
It's water if you
have to
define it as
shower,
wet.
Shower and get ready.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not Mad Max.
Yes, that's what she would do. And she would then eat, and she'd probably stay in a room until she knows it's a little bit later, and the others would also be up.
Mm-hmm. So how long does it take for you to wake up?
Not super long for me. Probably relatively early in the morning from like corpo habits. There's not as much to do in the morning, but still getting earlier in the morning, like cleaning his clothes, picking what he wants to wear today. There's probably not much fancy variety, so it's picks just like the white dress shirt and doesn't do the suit. He's decided he's gonna be a little more casual today. Finds a nicer jacket and all, and what's gonna happen today? Well, Strife is probably gonna stab somebody. Olympia is gonna say something clever. Nixon's gonna say something I didn't expect, but it's probably way more reasonable. I used to miss corpo television, but this is way better. Get dressed and then start heading out.
And what about you, Strife? How long does it take you to get up?
You're muted.
You're muted, sorry.
Throw some Kelli mutes in the chat because I did not realize I was muted.
First one of the day.
she probably didn't sleep well because this mystery is bothering her. So much like me and IRL, Strife is up early, drinking whatever the most caffeinated beverage she has, and kind of going over the results of what she found last night while her and Nero were working on the arm.
Cool. Well, Darcy, the agent of Nyx, sends you sort of data which kind of confirms what you've discovered and adds a little bit more about this viral agent and the rewiring of your victims' nervous systems. And then can I say that we meet in Nyx's clinic to discuss our next moves, which we can do. We can decide what we're going to do with the day after we come back from our break.
I love this music.